In 2008, nearly 500 children were taken from within the walls of the FLDS compound in El Dorado, Texas. The reason? Well, here's their leader, Warren Jeffs, and the 12-year-old bride he's accused of sexually assaulting. He's also charged with bigamy and aggravated sexual assault for his relationship with that girl. The trial begins Monday after many attempts by Jeffs to stall the proceedings. He's still asking for a change of venue and has gone through numerous lawyers. But the judge says the time is now. The Fundamentalist Church of Latter-day Saints was led by Jeffs, a man who proclaimed himself the group's prophet. He presided over nearly 10,000 members in the FLDS community. Men were required to have at least 3 wives to get into the highest level of heaven. Women were expected to give birth every year in order to replenish the earth for the church. But his beliefs led to trouble with police. Jeffs was arrested in 2006 for 2 counts of rape as an accomplice for arranging the marriage of a 14-year-old girl and her 19-year-old cousin. He was convicted in 2007 and sentenced to 10 years, but in 2010, a Utah Supreme Court overturned the convictions because of improper jury instructions. Jeffs will have another day in court for those charges following next week's trial. Roughly 250 jurors in Texas are ready to be called and questioned to serve on this jury and decide the fate of that man, Warren Jeffs. Joining me tonight is Flora Jessup. She's a former polygamist and former member of the Fundamentalist Church of Latter-day Saints. Flora is also the author of Church of Lies, a book about growing up in the world of polygamy. We also have Mark Henkel, a national polygamy advocate and founder of truthbearer.com. And rounding out our panel tonight is Beth Karras, correspondent with In Session on our sister network, True TV. Also with us from In Session is contributor Casey Jordan. Welcome to you all. Thank you so much for being here. Flora, let me start with you. When we have these images, and we saw these images, and we recall them from back then, and when people think about polygamy and they think about Warren Jeffs in this case, they don't think about polygamy. They think about child rape. Are we right, if that's the image that we should have in our mind, that this is all about young girls being put into beds with older men?
Absolutely. This is about child abuse. It's interesting because in your former images you showed an image of them asking the young girls, what were you told when you were taken into custody? Did you understand what happened? And they said, yes, we understand, we were bad. And that because they were told that that's why they were taken into custody, that they had done something wrong. And their prophet wouldn't be in jail if they had done things right. God wouldn't be punishing them.
Beth Karras, this trial, is it about polygamy, or is it about child rape, or is it about both here?
Well, it really is about this statutory rape of 2 victims. One who was 12 when he married her, had sex with her apparently a few weeks later, and that's when he was on the lam, by the way, wanted by the FBI for the Utah prosecution that you just described. And then another victim from 2005 who was 13 when he married her, 14 when she bore him a child. And both of these victims are not going to be cooperative with the state. I do not think we're going to see them testify in the state's case in chief. The proof will be put on through DNA evidence and other evidence.
Mark Henkel, you're a national polygamy advocate, but, you know, this is the story that people are going to hear. This is the headline. This is the way people are going to look at polygamy.
It is. It's horrendous. It has absolutely nothing to do, really, with normal polygamy of normal consenting adults. That's correct.
This trial begins Monday, Beth Karras. A jury selection, how long do we expect that to take?
Well, the trial is going to be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. What will happen the first week, Vinny, is they'll seat a jury. It may take about 3 days to get a jury. You know, there have been 5 or 6 other trials already in this county of other FLDS men convicted of sexual assault of a child. Some a first-degree felony, some a second-degree felony. They're serving anywhere from 6 to 75 years in prison. So this community has already heard several
trials. We'll have more right after this.
Tell the family I will not be calling anymore. I love you. Help. This is a test. You are the prophet. This is not a test. This is a revelation. Who was never his servant. I say farewell again to all who qualify for Zion.
That's creepy. That's FLDS self-proclaimed prophet Warren Jeffs during a 2007 jailhouse visit with one of his followers. Now, after several attempts to stall his trial, jury selection is set to begin 10 a.m. on Monday. HLN will be following this trial for you. Lawyers anticipate that jury selection lasts about 3 days or so. He's facing charges of sexual assault, bigamy, aggravated sexual assault for his marriage to a 12-year-old girl. Flora Jessup, this 12-year-old girl, what has her life been like, and what would she say if she was called to the witness stand here?
You know, if she was called to the witness stand, she would completely and totally defend Warren Jeffs, because if she doesn't, then she has no access to heaven. And that's the thing you've got to understand, is that with these children, there's a misconception out there that these children are brainwashed, and that's absolutely not the case. These children are indoctrinated from birth. And the difference between the two is, with a brainwashing, you at least have some form or foundation to go to. With these children, because they're indoctrinated from birth, they have no foundation except what the church and what their families tell them. And so for her she's taught that everybody outside of the group, the family, the church, is disciples from Satan. And she would absolutely defend, because if she doesn't, she would be banished to hell for eternity. So she would have absolutely no choice. And the fact that she hasn't been protected by the social service agencies mandated to protect these children even lends a deeper pit for her to fall into, because even if she did want to get out.
Where's she going to go? Mark Henkel, I want to bring you in here quickly, because you mentioned something, normal polygamy. A lot of people would say, hey, that's a little bit of an oxymoron in this country, Mark. What is the life for people who are polygamists in this country who aren't raping children?
Well, that's exactly right. I'm the National Polygamy Advocate for the National Polygamy Rights Movement for Consenting Adults. And there's all forms of consenting adult polygamy: secular polygamy, Christian polygamy, Jewish polygamy, all forms that have nothing to do with this religious Mormon type-based sect out in Utah and now in Texas, having nothing to do with Warren Jeffs. It's ironic that 10 years ago, this very summer, I was out in the media against another Mormon polygamist who was out having relations with daughters and children, a man named Tom Green. And here we are 10 years later with a man named Warren Jeffs in a trial in a county called Tom Green County, Texas.
Unbelievable stuff, all starting Monday. We're not done yet, folks. Big thanks to all my guests. I really do appreciate it. Coming up, Lindsay Lohan back.